Adolf Hitler, one of the most infamous figures in history, was born on April 20th, 1889, in the small town of Braunau am Inn, Austria. His early years were marked by a mix of familial pressure, personal dreams, and significant events that influenced his later life. Hitler was the fourth of 6 children born to Alois Hitler and Clara Pölzl. His father, Alois, was a customs official, and he was strict and often harsh. Alois wanted Adolf to follow in his footsteps and work for the government. However, young Adolf had different dreams. He was closer to his mother, Clara, who was kind and nurturing. She supported his ambitions and provided emotional comfort in an otherwise tense household. Adolf Hitler was not a particularly good student. He showed little interest in most subjects, except for art. He loved to draw and paint, dreaming of becoming a famous artist one day. Despite his passion, his father disapproved of this dream, causing frequent arguments between them. When Hitler was 14, his father died, leaving the family without a strong authority figure. This event did not bring the relief he might have expected. Instead, it placed more pressure on him to succeed, especially in his mother's eyes. Hitler's performance in school did not improve. In fact, it worsened after his father's death. He eventually dropped out at the age of 16 without completing his secondary education. In 1907, at the age of 18, Hitler moved to Vienna to pursue his dream of becoming an artist. He applied to the Academy of Fine Arts Vienna but was rejected twice, in both 1907 and 1908. The rejection letters stated that his work lacked artistic merit, which was a crushing blow to him. Adding to his sorrow, his beloved mother, Clara, died of breast cancer in December 1907. Her death left Hitler deeply saddened and even more determined to succeed. While living in Vienna, Hitler struggled to make a living. He worked odd jobs and lived in homeless shelters and men's hostels. These years were formative for him, but not in a positive way. Vienna was a diverse city, and Hitler, already prejudiced, began to develop stronger anti-Semitic views. He blamed the Jewish people for his personal failures and the broader social and economic problems he saw around him. During his time in Vienna, Hitler was influenced by the political and social climate of the city. He read extensively and was particularly drawn to nationalist and anti-Semitic literature. 2 figures who significantly influenced him were Georg von Schönerer, a German nationalist, and Karl Lueger, the mayor of Vienna, known for his anti-Semitic policies. These influences shaped Hitler's developing ideology, which combined extreme nationalism with a deep-seated hatred of Jews and other minorities. In 1913, Hitler left Vienna and moved to Munich, Germany. He hoped for a fresh start, away from the failures and frustrations he had experienced in Vienna. His life took a significant turn with the outbreak of World War I in 1914. Hitler volunteered to serve in the German army and found a sense of purpose and belonging that had eluded him in his civilian life. He served as a messenger on the Western Front and was twice decorated for bravery, receiving the Iron Cross First Class, a rare honor for someone of his rank. The war deeply impacted Hitler. He was appalled by Germany's defeat and felt bitter and betrayed by the politicians who had signed the Treaty of Versailles. He, like many other Germans, believed that the country had been stabbed in the back by its leaders, a belief that would later become central to his political message. After the war, Hitler returned to Munich, a city in turmoil. The German economy was in ruins, and there was widespread social unrest. Hitler struggled to find stable employment and remained in the army, where he was assigned to various propaganda duties. It was during this time that he discovered his talent for public speaking and propaganda. In 1919, Hitler joined the German Workers' Party, a small nationalist group. His oratory skills and charismatic presence quickly brought him to the forefront of the party. By 1920, he had become the party's leading figure, transforming it into what would later become the National Socialist German Workers' Party, NSDAP, or the Nazi Party. Adolf's father, Alois Hitler, was born in 1837 and originally had the surname Schicklgruber. He changed it to Hitler in 1876, a move that some believe was influenced by a desire for a name that sounded more German. Alois Hitler worked as a customs official and was married 3 times. His third wife, Clara Pölzl, was Adolf's mother. Clara was born in 1860 and was actually Alois's niece. She was much younger than him. She initially worked in Alois's household as a maid. Alois and Clara developed a romantic relationship over time, and they married in 1885. Their marriage produced 6 children, though only Adolf and his sister Paula survived into adulthood. After World War I, Germany was in chaos. The economy was in ruins and people were angry and desperate. Adolf Hitler, who had served in the German army, returned to Munich feeling bitter about Germany's defeat. In 1919, he joined the German Workers' Party, a small nationalist group that shared his beliefs about Germany's future. Hitler quickly stood out because of his powerful speeches and ideas. He blamed Jews and communists for Germany's problems and promised to restore the country's greatness. By 1920, Hitler was a leading figure in the party, which he renamed the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazi Party. He used propaganda and his charismatic speaking skills to attract more followers. In 1923, Hitler tried to seize power in the failed beer hall putsch in Munich. He was arrested and sentenced to prison, where he wrote Mein Kampf, outlining his ideas for Germany's future. Despite the failure of the beer hall putsch, Hitler's popularity grew. After his release from prison in 1924, he rebuilt the Nazi Party, focusing on gaining power legally through elections. The Great Depression in 1929 made things worse for Germany, and more people started listening to Hitler's promises of jobs and national pride. In 1932, the Nazi Party became the largest party in the German parliament. In January 1933, President Paul von Hindenburg appointed Hitler as Chancellor of Germany. Once in power, Hitler moved quickly to consolidate his control. The Reichstag fire in February 1933 allowed him to persuade Hindenburg to sign the Reichstag fire decree, which suspended many civil liberties and allowed the arrest of political opponents. By mid-1933, all other political parties were banned, and Hitler had established a totalitarian regime. Under Hitler's rule, Germany was transformed into a dictatorship. The Nazis controlled all aspects of life, including the economy, education, and the media. Propaganda played a key role in spreading Nazi ideology and glorifying Hitler as the Führer, or leader. Hitler focused on rebuilding Germany's military and economy, violating the Treaty of Versailles. He also started to persecute Jews and other minorities through laws and violent actions, such as the Nuremberg Laws in 1935 and Kristallnacht in 1938. These actions aimed to create a pure Aryan race and eliminate those considered inferior. Hitler's aggressive foreign policy led to World War II. He aimed to expand Germany's territory and create a vast empire. In 1938, Germany annexed Austria and then parts of Czechoslovakia. In September 1939, Hitler invaded Poland, prompting Britain and France to declare war on Germany. This marked the start of World War II. Germany quickly conquered much of Europe through blitzkrieg tactics, which involved rapid, coordinated attacks. By 1941, Germany controlled much of the continent and had invaded the Soviet Union. However, the war began to turn against Germany after key defeats, such as the Battle of Stalingrad in 1942-1943. One of the darkest aspects of Hitler's rule was the Holocaust. Hitler and the Nazis sought to exterminate the Jewish population of Europe. They established concentration camps and death camps, where millions of Jews were systematically murdered. Other groups, including Roma, Gypsies, disabled individuals, political dissidents, and homosexuals, were also targeted. The Nazis used propaganda to dehumanize Jews and justify their actions. They forced Jews into ghettos, and later transported them to camps like Auschwitz, where they were killed in gas chambers. By the end of the war, 6 million Jews had been murdered, along with millions of others. Adolf Hitler's death marked the end of a devastating era in history. He died on April 30th, 1945, in his underground bunker in Berlin, Germany. His death was the result of suicide, a desperate act in the face of inevitable defeat as World War II was drawing to a close. By early 1945, Germany was losing the war. The Allied forces were closing in from the west, and the Soviet Union's Red Army was advancing from the east. Berlin, the capital of Nazi Germany, was under heavy attack. Hitler, who had refused to leave the city, retreated to his bunker beneath the Reich Chancellery. As the situation grew increasingly hopeless, Hitler realized that Germany's defeat was imminent. On April 30th, 1945, with Soviet troops just a few blocks away from his bunker, Hitler decided to end his life. He and his wife, Eva Braun, whom he had married just a day before, committed suicide together. Hitler took cyanide and then shot himself in the head, while Eva Braun took cyanide. Their bodies were found later that day by members of Hitler's staff. No one directly killed Hitler. He committed suicide to avoid capture by the advancing Allied forces. Fearing humiliation and execution if he were captured alive, Hitler chose to end his life on his own terms. The Soviets reached the bunker shortly after his death and confirmed that Hitler and Braun had indeed died by suicide. After Hitler's death, his body, along with Eva Braun's, was carried outside the bunker, doused in gasoline, and set on fire by his loyal staff, following his instructions. This was done to prevent his body from being captured and displayed by the Allies. The remains were later discovered by Soviet soldiers who conducted a series of secret investigations to confirm the identities of the bodies. Several key figures from Hitler's inner circle survived the immediate aftermath of his death, although many were captured or killed soon after. Notably, Joseph Goebbels, his propaganda minister, and Goebbels' family committed suicide the day after Hitler's death. Heinrich Himmler, head of the SS, attempted to flee, but was captured and committed suicide in Allied custody. Hermann Göring, another top Nazi official, was captured, tried at Nuremberg, and sentenced to death, but he committed suicide before his execution. In terms of family, Hitler had no children and was survived by his half-sister, Paula Hitler. Some of his closest followers faced trial and execution or imprisonment for their roles in the war and the Holocaust. Enjoyed this video? Drop a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Also, click the bell icon to get notified when we drop another video.